Today we're actually going to be looking into HEX price. We're going to be discussing some good old PulseChain, PulseX information as well, and looking at what's going on with some PulseChain dev. Let's take a little peeky weeky over here at the HEX price. So very interesting stuff happening right now. HEX has been kind of bouncing, not necessarily even in this 3 to 5 cent region. We've really wanted to retest this 5 cent region once again. And if you can see just kind of right here, if I draw a little circle, we keep kind of retesting this 5 cent threshold. Normally when something bounces off and does a couple of bounces a few times, it has it to where it bounces and you get usually 2 to 3 rejections before it usually breaks out one way or the other. And essentially at this point in time, I'm seeing this as 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm kind of curious as to what may be possible, because HEX is now very correlated to PulseChain. I think we all know that. And so with all that said, it's kind of curious to see what really made it up happening. So let's give a quick shout out to everyone who got to tune in here. Debbie G, happy Valentine's Day to you. And hope y'all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Jason, what's going on? Let's go. First one here. Hashtag HEX. Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. I wanted to give a little shout out to everyone. Happy Valentine's Day, you beautiful people, is what I got to say. We got Gabriel in the chat as well saying hello. So what's up, everybody? Again, my name is ATX Crypto. We are looking at HEX right now. And oddly enough, HEX has really actually been holding this 9 EMA bounce as a good level of support, and I'm wondering if there's anything to it. Again, whenever I look at this kind of information, I just take it for what it is. And you know, the 9 EMA, just in case you don't know, is the white line that we're seeing right here. This is the 15-day EMA, and for those of y'all who aren't aware, typically when these two cross on the daily pattern, it actually is a bullish trend if it crosses to the upside, and if it goes the opposite way, it's a bearish trend. And so you can actually see every single time it's crossed, we go down and have a lot of bearish momentum. Anytime it's crossed on the opposite end, we go through and have a lot of bullish momentum. And again, you can use this metric pretty frequently to go back and look again. 9 EMA crossing the 15 EMA below. Once again, we get a bearish momentum and bearish action happening. So you can really go back and see this kind of does a really good job kind of showing what's going to be possible and what's available in the near future. And ever since it crossed on January 8th, we have had a very solid run in terms of price momentum, price appreciation. If we just look at it from the 8th and where it actually crossed, so far we are up in total 129%. Hopefully y'all were able to go and take some profits. That is something we're going to be discussing a little bit later today as well. How important it is to take profits, guys. Profits, profit. Nothing wrong with taking profits. I saw a fun little Reddit video where, you know, I'll get into that later, but looking at this HEX chart right here, Stizzy Jones says 100% staked. Well, you aren't able to take profits until your stake ends. But man, when your stake ends, hopefully you got some profits to be able to be made. You can either sell the yield and restake the principal, vice versa. You can, you know, cash out because you've got all the other stakes, and we're going to be discussing some of that a little bit later as well. But yes, 100% staked is one way to go to ensure that you don't wreck yourself, especially during this time when the price has fallen from 20 cents and possibly even higher. When the price was over here in the 50 cent region, you could wreck yourself very quickly. And so by staking, you actually end up keeping yourself from wrecking yourself. Very interesting strategy here. But HEX has actually been bouncing in this bouncing off the 9 EMA, and it's been playing pretty closely to it this whole time. So as we see, it bounced off here, bounced off here, bounced off here. It's been actually using the 9 EMA as a level of support, which I find very interesting. Now, if there's more to it than that, I don't really know. We're going to be trying to keep an eye on that as well, because if it continues to bounce off the 9 EMA and just keep going up, guys, that's a nice little bullish action until the 9 EMA crosses, and then we're talking a different story. But absolutely. What's up, Big GZ? How are you? How are you doing, fam? Hope you're doing great. Happy Valentine's Day to y'all. Hopefully everyone again is going to have a fantastic day. Let me take a quick sip of coffee. All right. But looking at this, guys, this is I'm trying to keep track of every single time Richard Hart makes an announcement on Twitter. And so if you can see, this is kind of what I have going on. There was Richard Hart talking on the 9th of January. He announced PulseChain V3 testnet private on the 11th of January. He goes through and announces stage 7. I think that was on the 24th of January. He comes through and says code complete on the 2nd of February. And then he says there was a bug found. And look what the action. Look how fast HEX actually got reacted, or how fast HEX reacted from just him tweeting that there was a freaking bug. Not only that, it's like, do you want him to give information or do you not want him to give information? Because I feel like when he sees the price of HEX get hurt like this, he doesn't feel like giving information. HEX is his baby. It's like, imagine you have your own kid and you seeing them at the park, and every time you drop them off at the park, you know, there's always the kid that bullies. Well, you eventually stop going to that park and you find him a different park. Well, that's kind of what y'all are doing to Richard and HEX whenever he makes an announcement from Twitter. Do you want him to make announcements and keep us in the date and keep us up to date on PulseChain? Or, because look at this, it literally dropped. Like, it was, I think, why is that there? Move this. Okay, yeah, it literally dropped 21% from that one tweet. It had been rallying like crazy from this whole time. He says there was a bug found and it drops 21%. Guys, I don't think he wants to hurt HEX. He's always said HEX is his baby. He wants to see HEX expensive on everything, right? So when PulseChain launches, we're going to see HEX expensive there, HEX expensive on Ethereum. So I feel like whenever he announces stuff like this and then the community has this reaction, it kind of actually keeps him from saying stuff. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I won't say anything. You can just wait and stay in the dark. And I'm so thankful that he's announcing stuff to us now, folks. He's giving us updates. He used to be radio silent. And that was like even worse, but that was also when we basically just did nothing but trend sideways for what was that, many months? I mean, if you go back over here, and I can flip this over to probably weekly, but we just trended sideways here in this range for many months when he didn't say anything. I find it so shocking and so amusing that whenever he does make announcements, these are the reactions he gets. Now, luckily, over the week, and guys, look at this momentum. That is so freaking amazing. Look how good we've done since the beginning of the year. We've actually gone and already done a 200% increase from basically all-time low, or what you consider the low of the market right now. Not all-time low, but the low of the time span that we're in right now. And that was around, 1.7 cents. And then it bounced all the way back up to around 5.5 cents. And we've just been kind of bouncing in this range and on a nice bullish trajectory is what I'm seeing here as well. In fact, we even just had the 9 EMA cross the 15 EMA on the weekly chart. And that is, once again, bullish because we talked about it before. The same aspect applies when you end up getting news announcements on weekly. It's much better to use this type of action on the daily though, because it actually will typically give a better indication of what's going on, because weekly, has a lot going on. So what we got over here is good little price action happening once again. HEX is sitting right above 5 cents. And folks, I really hope that y'all are mindful to take some profits, because we have PulseChain coming soon. We have the launch of new layer 1, which is forking over every ERC20 token, and you're going to get a copy of everything. So I'm a big fan of profits in this scenario, but let's take a look at what's going on with PulseChain, because this is another thing that we look at over here on the channel, and this is something that I've been seeing. So in terms of the PulseChain developers, these are the actual devs of PulseChain. You have Brett Paulson, 3 Commas Capital, SJB, Kyle Barr, TBC Dev, Richard Hart, Space Ghost, and a few below. They haven't actually been active down here since almost last year. I don't really. Oh, they're blocked. Wow. Wonder what happened here. But you know, that was the first time I've seen that. I don't know if they've been blocked or whatever, but that's probably why they haven't been active. But these are the main developers that I'm seeing here in our PulseChain ecosystem. Brett Paulson, 3 Commons Capital, SJB. Go give these folks some love on Twitter, folks. They are doing amazing work for us in the background that we don't even understand. Every single tweet that y'all end up seeing, saying Richard R has Lighthouse and Go Pulse and Prism Pulse and all these things, they are the ones doing the work to make it happen. So I'm thankful for them. Happy Valentine's Day to you PulseChain developers. Absolutely love what y'all got going on. He has been active every single day since the beginning of January, folks. Brett Paulson has been by far the most active developer on PulseChain in terms of who we have going on. So I'm a big fan of this guy right here. He's doing phenomenal work for us, okay? So keeping that in mind, let's take a little look over here on HEX daily stats and see if we can actually find out what's going on with the overall indicators here, guys. Wow, Gwei is 234. What in the flying actual F? I feel like I gotta go check on this real fast. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. Do not transact right now. If you're looking to swap, if you're looking to end a stake, if you're looking to do anything on the Ethereum network, just stay far away from it. Oh my gosh. So there's clearly an OpenSea thing happening, because these are by far the people who are causing the most in terms of the gas guzzlers. Uniswap Universal Router eating up 13%. I got completely distracted when I saw the Gwei, guys. So Gwei is what you pay to transact on the Ethereum network. Essentially, think about it like gas for your car, right? In order for you to drive your car and drive on the roads, you need to put gas in the car. Well, if gas is, you know, $15 a gallon to drive, does it make sense to go anywhere right now? And typically the answer is no, because on average, you can see the price around $3 per gallon, right? And so if you're seeing these crazy high, expensive transaction fees, the app, by the way, guys, a good indicator of a good price for Gwei is around 8 to 12. You're talking 200 Gwei right now. That is ridiculous. So in order to do a basic transaction, say on Uniswap right now, and I'll just probably pull that up real quick, because that's brutal, folks, and I'm like, for real, that's wildly high. I don't recommend anyone do any sort of transactions right now at this point in time. Wait. By far the best time to do transactions are on the weekend. I think over the weekend I saw it as low as 13 Gwei. I could have been wrong, but I was just taking a little quick peek. Why? Because I had a stake ending, and so I wanted to make sure that I'm not wasting money just paying for a transaction fee. So I personally can't wait until PulseChain comes out, because then the transaction fee, while it may seem crazy, it's still going to be under a penny. And so I can't wait for that. But let's just take a little peek and see what it would cost right now to swap USDC into HEX. Oh my gosh, wild, folks, wild. Let's just say you have 1,000. It would cost $35, and you can see it right over here. It would cost $35 to swap $1,000 into HEX. So that would basically mean you were just giving that money away. And that's probably on the low side as well. I'm sure if I actually was to go through and complete this transaction, I think it would actually show more of what's going on. $39, yeah, this is not the time to be swapping. This is not the time to be trading. If you can't see it right here, I'll just kind of open up my screen just a little bit, or zoom in on the screen. But again, I'm just basically saying, hey, take $1,000, swap it into HEX. So let me just see what it looks like. And the gas fee right now, you're going to pay $40 to do this swap. So guys, this gas fee remains the same. So say you only have $100 right now to swap it into HEX. It's going to recalculate where it is. So you would get 1,952 HEX, and it would still cost you $40 for the network fee. So the network fee stays the same regardless of the amount typically, which is why it kind of stinks for people without a lot of money. But even if you have a lot of money, why would you waste it on a transaction fee so high right now? It doesn't make sense. Personally, your best recommendation is to wait, folks. Wait until you find this number to go down. 220 gwei for anything is absurd, okay? So that's basically meaning that it's going to cost you on average $50 to do any transaction, whether it's starting a stake, ending a stake. Not good, folks. That is really, really not good. I am shocked that it is this high, because Ethereum's price, if I'm not mistaken, isn't doing anything too crazy. Let me just take a peek over here. Oh, I only have wrapped Ethereum on there. Let's do ETH, USDC. Oh, there you are. I mean, yeah, 1500. I mean, that's nothing too crazy in terms of Ethereum's price, because again, the gwei is based on how much Ethereum costs and all this stuff as well. It takes all that into consideration. But I mean, folks, this is a wild time. Again, this isn't like price of Ethereum is still relatively down, I'd say. In terms of the daily, we got a good little action on the way up. So people are getting bullish again. They had a little bit of fear with the SEC news and staking and all the rules and regulation that's coming out from the SEC, saying that they're not going to allow it for regular traders, if you will. Or the plebs, as I would say, but they'll allow institutions. But anyways, that's a whole different discussion, a whole nother day. Wow. Oh my gosh. That is shocking to me, folks. Shocking. Now is not the time to transact. If you have a stake ending, by the way, just in case you don't know, you have a 14-day grace window after your stake ends. So assuming that your stake ended, we'll just say on Monday, the 13th of February, you actually have a 14-day window to end that stake before you are considered to be late on the stake, and you start accruing penalties. And that penalty, by the way, just in case y'all don't know, it's 1% per week of loss up to 100 weeks. So if you don't end a stake for 100 weeks after the 14-day grace period, then essentially it's going to be useless and nothing and worth nothing, because it bleeds out back into the staking pool. So yeah, if you have a stake ending today, I wouldn't start a stake right now. I wouldn't end a stake right now. I wouldn't buy anything right now. I am not a financial advisor, but that's brutal. That's bad. I'd avoid completely. Like, oh my God. Yeah. RIP ETH when PulseChain launches, man. And so another thing that I'm going to make a separate video on this, and break it down into a smaller little segment. But another thing that happens in a lot of these is, hi baby, I like your outfit. Wife giving some love on the red shirt. Hopefully y'all are enjoying it as well. We got some fire action happening on Valentine's Day. Tried looking a little bit snazzy for you beautiful people. But I'm gonna make a video on this as well. So a lot of folks are thinking that when PulseChain launches, that HEX on Ethereum is just gonna go to nothing. And I don't think that's the case, right, folks? There's a roadmap for Ethereum and the whole layer 1 network, where they're going to be implementing something called sharding, where it basically allows it to lower the transaction fees. But yeah, right now, folks, it's not the time. Don't do it. And you can look up this information yourself. I'm using etherscan.io/gas tracker. Feel free to use this information yourself. There's no harm, no foul in using it. And it just allows you a better example of what's really going on. So if you want to know if it's a good time to do it, then you can obviously use this one. Another website that tracks this pretty well is hex.vision. And I'll just go there briefly to kind of show you where you can go to look up this information, because I think on this website it also gives a pretty good example of when it is a better time to transact in terms of gas fees. So yeah, look at this. Like, this is on average what you would normally see, folks. So like average you're around 20, maybe 30. You have some days where it gets a little bit higher, and then today, I mean, it got as high as 7 712 Gwei. Fuck out of here, bro. That is brutal. I feel so sorry for anyone just getting into this ecosystem and not understanding gas fees, because this is a terrible entry. If this is guys, imagine the fees are $50 right now to do a swap. At 700 Gwei, you can imagine that's more than three times the amount that we're at right now. It's gonna cost $150 just to transact. That's brutal, but I love this because, guys, over the last 30 days, this does a great job of showing when was the best time to enter. Again, this is hex.vision for the website that I'm using right now. And it obviously will show the gas fees over here, right, what they currently are. But if you're ever curious, like you can see there's been a couple of times where it's actually been 0 to 10 Gwei. Most times you're going to find it between 10 to 20 Gwei, and you can see it's on average probably a little bit better to be transacting through this time. But again, guys, this is 20 to 30. Even these prices are high in my opinion, but they're not 700 Gwei high. And this is a great example of showing that that the weekends are by far the best time to actually transact, because it'll give you a good example. So on Sunday and on Saturday, you can see it's the white color, which is on average 18 to 21 Gwei. Throughout the middle of the week, Tuesday is by far the worst day on average to transact. So just in case you've always wondered, like, hey, what days are best to stake and end stake, and when should I have them coming out and all that good stuff. One, you have a 14-day window of grace window for ending your stake, but two, use this information to your advantage to plan accordingly so you don't just waste gas. It's like, why would you go drive 100 miles when the gas is $15 per gallon, $20 per gallon? Why would you go drive 100 miles and have to, and possibly, or even go take a crossroad or a road country trip, crossroad trip? You know what I'm trying to say. A road trip where you travel across the US or wherever you're at, whenever the prices are like $20, $30 per gallon. It's probably not a good time for you to make that trip. There are better times to do it when gas is reasonable at, anywhere between $3 to $5. Like, you're willing to pay a little bit extra for the luxury of taking that trip, but to pay, $30 to go on that road trip, now is not the time for that plan. Just FYI. Yeah, it's nuts. Bring on PulseChain. Facts, dude. The PulseTube. What's up? Yeah, absolutely, guys. Check out the PulseTube.com. Phenomenal website as well. I love what they do, love the content they put out, and I check them out all the time to make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes. And unfortunately, we have so many hex streamers nowadays that it's almost impossible not to step on somebody's toes, right? But at the same time, that's a great thing, right? We literally have so many folks who are literally willing to talk about this every single day. Yeah, it was 400 half an hour ago, I know, and I actually saw, like I said, it actually got up as high as 700, and you can zoom in. If you don't know, you can just simply zoom just by clicking on here and scrolling over, and it'll actually zoom into that section. So it actually got as high, and this is around 6 p.m. This is all UTC time, so you have to do the math and see where it's at. But yeah, 712 Gwei. Oh my god. Wreck, dude. Imagine that was like, hey, I finally got my money on Kraken to where I can transfer it into I can transfer it to my MetaMask or wherever cold storage wallet you have. And this is the time you decided to do it. I feel so sorry for those folks, man. That is brutal. I'm laughing because, like, if you don't know what you don't know, then it's like, it sucks. You're like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And then you learn. Like, that's one of those things you have to learn from these situations, because now I have a better understanding that, okay, I'm going to wait until the weekend. Why? I know that I can wait a few days to possibly get in to where I'm trying to get into. I now set limit orders to allow me to buy and sell certain products at prices, or certain crypto at certain prices. because it is a much better way of getting in instead of relying on doing a market buy and being based on where the current GWAY is and what's happening on the GWAY. That's a pain in the arse, dude. I promise. That's so brutal. Have we seen this in the last 30 days besides today? Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Reset. I could have sworn you just had to double click it and it went back to the original. Anyways, that's the gas fees. That's crazy. That threw me completely for a loop once I saw it on HEX Daily Stats. I'm a big fan of this website because it allows me to get a good indicator of kind of what's going on with HEX, how it's performing, and then they also have this little fee area right here. That is, oh my God, that is just so brutal. Just looking at that number right now, that's painful. But look again, guys, we're at 5 cents, we're at 5.1 cents. The payout per T-share today is currently set for 6.288. The T-share rate is ratcheting up once again to 25,751. We have the God Whale address, who has I believe 2 billion HEX stake ending. Now, personally, they're probably not going to end their stake today because today is by far the worst day you can possibly end your stake on based on what we just looked at a second ago. Tuesdays are not beneficial to end your stake, so they know they have a 14-day window. They aren't new to this ecosystem, so I don't think we're going to see any impact on the price or the T-share rate ratcheting up. But it's anticipated, folks, that we're going to see the T-share rate ratchet up, actually up to, let me go back to here. We're going to see the T-share rate ratchet up to around 26,500 HEX after the end stake of that particular wallet who's actually ending right here. Now, if you want to, you can actually click on here as well, lovehexfire.io. They have phenomenal information. That's where I get a lot of information from. And so you can click on this and you can actually see what wallets are going to be ending their stakes soon. And so this was a really neat addition because it just kind of gives you an idea that, you know, how much HEX was staked, how long they staked it for, what their estimated yield was, how many T-shares they have. And so I can sort this over here by T-shares, and you can see this is the one that we're referring to. It has 2 billion HEX, 2.1 billion HEX that they staked for essentially 45 days. And through that time, they were actually able to accrue 27 million HEX in yield. Their overall estimated payout is going to increase once again by that 27 million HEX. So they're going to be at 2.15 billion HEX, which is a wild number to say. But they also had 93,000 T-shares, and the Godwell understands the benefit and the power of a T-share. This isn't brand new to them. They have a very good understanding of why they stake, how much they stake. They have stakes going out to 15 years, just like myself and many other Hexicans. But you can actually go in here and see this is probably going to be the one that ratchets that rate up to a new share rate and bumps it up once again to above that 26,000 number, that 26,500 number, because there are several ending in this time frame. There's a 50 million HEX stake ending here, and these are all going to increase the overall cost it takes to get one T-share. T-shares are so powerful, folks. Like, I don't think I can stress enough how important a T-share is in HEX. That is why we have HEX. That is what the main point of HEX is for. It's to stake it, to delay that gratification. And in return, by staking your HEX, you're given a share or T-share. In this case, if you have a certain amount of HEX. And there's also going to be B shares, which, folks, we're going to get to a point in time, another 10x in HEX, we're going to be talking about B shares. So the more T shares that you can get right now, which just means trillion shares, just means that you have a much better opportunity to get paid more HEX every single day than someone staking in the future who can only get a B share, which is a billion shares, right? And so and we're going to go into that in more depth and detail, I'm sure, as the time progresses and as we keep going. But I did want to show it right here. that we have it. Yeah, exactly. Jason says, damn, that's too much money for a transaction. Bro, that is brutal is what that is. Like literally, if I pull this up again, just to get $100 worth of hex, which if you look at, we'll look at here in a second. Sorry, I thought I heard my dog bark. And my wife's here, so she's able to take care of him, so all is good. But yeah, $31 to transact, and oh my god, brutal. But look at these transactions that you see on, this is on Ethereum. Let's go back to Hex. Let's go back to the winner. You can look at this right here, and these are folks who are selling their Hex. These are current transactions that are happening right now. But you don't see anyone doing $100 buy right now, $200 buy. Like at most, you see $1,000. You see 662. Here you go. You get a couple of folks, but like I feel bad for the folks who are buying it at the $153 right now, because the gas fee, if they bought this on the market, is they essentially they wasted $50 to be able to just pay it, just to be able to buy that Hex. And that's what makes it so brutal. And that's why PulseChain is going to be so incredible, folks. And like, yes, I also cannot wait for PulseChain. What's up, Hexicans? What's up, Ten Top? How are you, my friend? Happy Valentine's Day to every single one of you beautiful people as well. Justin Perez, yep, not fun. Had one stake, forgot about it for 2 months, and lost a lot of profit. Hey, Justin, I feel you, dude. You know, I feel like I did the same, but mine was more so on the Hedron side because I'd had a stake end. And I talk about this all the time, which is why it's even more funny and comical that I personally forgot as well. But guys, if you have a stake ending in Hex, be sure to go mint your Hedron first. It's given to you for free because you staked your Hex. You might as well do that. And then if you want to sell it and convert it into Hex and buy more, or if you want to hold on to Hedron or get yourself some Mycosa and stake it, all the benefits of what we have going on in our ecosystem is amazing. But I forgot to go claim my Hedron, and I felt like I lost a lot of money. It was a little sad, right? I ended my stake, and I was like, all right, I'll just restake the sucker. I got 3 times the T shares because I kicked it out long. I was like, I don't need this right now. I kicked it out long, went out to 15 years with it based on my staking strategy that I've talked about. And so, but I forgot I forgot to claim my Hedron, and I felt like such a dummy afterwards too, because like literally it was probably an hour or 2 after, and I was like, oh man, like literally forgot, bro. And it was so painful because it was one of those Hedrons. And this is from earlier, but you were able to have a 10x Hedron and make your claims on it whenever it's first released for the first 100 days. That's a different story, but that was one of those ones that had 10x Hedron, and dude, I felt like such a brutal pleb at that point because I was like, no, like, but that was again my loss. So I feel your pain, Justin. A good way to keep track of your stakes, by the way, folks, even if you don't use this platform for staking, you can still keep track of your stakes through it. It's through Staker app. I have a link down in the description below, but the benefit of this is you can actually just input your MetaMask wallet or your Ethereum address into the Staker platform. You don't have to buy a wallet. You don't have to set it up and set and use the Gnosis safe and all that good stuff. You can literally use it just to keep track of it. It keeps track of all of your stakes inside that Ethereum address, and it gives you a good indicator of when they're coming up, when they're coming due. The other thing is also go in and set a reminder in your phone on your calendar to end your stake at an XYZ time frame. And I've even had it done before where I actually have a second reminder a week later, because sometimes we get busy, we get caught up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll end it after work, or I'll end it after this, or I'll end it whatever. We gotta go to the movies, and you know, I'll end it after that. And so, and then you forget about it, and then you end up in a situation like good old Justin right here, where you forget about it for 2 months. And that bled out 8% because it bleeds out 1% per week for up to 100 weeks, like we talked about. So you lost about 8% of money on that, or 8% of profits. And I feel you, Justin. I'm there with you. I feel your pain. I'm going to mint some Zen, give it 30 years, and I'll be in profit. Oh shit, Ted Top. That's just comical, man. Yeah, hey. And what's even funnier, dude, like those are the people, like the people who hate Hex are like the people who love Zen for whatever reason, and they're like, man, it's going to be in profit in 15 years. It's okay. It's got an infinite mechanism to just mint as much as people want, but in 30 years, it's going to be good. And I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you just do something easy like HEX that you can stake and earn more yield trustlessly every single day, and then set it for 15 years? If you truly don't care about it for 30 years, then set that sucker for 15 years and you'll be good. Oh shit, that's funny. What's up, Hex Farmer? Howdy, ATX. Hello. Happy Valentine's Day again to y'all. Keck W, yeah, Pulse, dude, for sure. That's laugh out loud moment for sure. Blur is live. That is why gas is high. Oh, see, I don't even know what Blur is. I don't follow the latest and greatest trends on the new coins coming out, because I found such a phenomenal ecosystem that I don't want to divert my attention and go end up degenning on something that I don't know a lot about. I've spent so much time and energy learning about our ecosystem, the HEX ecosystem, the PulseChain ecosystem, the PulseX ecosystem, like literally all of it I've devoted to so much learning that now I hear a new project, and if it doesn't like meet the criteria right away of like, you know who the founder is, because most projects are through an anonymous founder. And you know, if it has admin keys, and that immediately is gone in my books, you know. And there's so many things that we have as good fundamentals that you need to look for in crypto that we don't really, that most other cryptos don't really have. And so the fact that we have it is funny. But yes, thank you for letting me know, Sizzy Jones. I have no idea you know what Blur is. Okay. All right. It's a ploy by Zen NFT miners to keep Godwell from ending stakes. Can I open? Yeah, I will. Okay. Love you. That's funny, Ten Top. That's really funny. Not gonna lie. It's a ploy. Godwell can never end stakes if it stays up at if the gas fees stay up at 200. Like, what is this, dude? It's at 500 right now. You gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. What is, dude? Do I even want to look at Blur? Do I even care about it? I don't. I was gonna look at it to see like if it met the criteria, but nothing does, dude. That's what I love about our ecosystem. There's so many things that just don't even meet the criteria of what I'm looking for to even bother. And so, yeah, I'm gonna go back and go back to gas prices and just pull this up over here. But dude, like guys, 500, 154 Gwei, 200 Gwei. This is not good gas prices. That's no bueno. Now's not the time to be ending a stake. Now's not the time to be doing any sort of transaction on the Ethereum network, in my personal opinion. But again, you do you, boo. I'm not a financial advisor, so if you want to go spend that money and you got the money to spend, then you do you, boo. The bull market is gonna be wrecked on Ethereum. Yeah, if new projects keep this up, like so essentially what happened was OpenSea came out with NFTs back in, I think it was 2021. And that was the real big thing. Right, it was Rarible, it was OpenSea, it was all these protocols for NFTs, and they caused the gas fees to basically stay high always, because people had to transact in order to play. It was this Decentraland and all these other ones where you would literally have to pay all this money to just play with the NFTs, but it kept the gas fees high for so long, which is why 2021 was by far a brutal year that kind of taught me that, one, you don't start a stake or end a stake until the weekend. You pay attention to the gas prices. And this is back when I was doing market buys, right? So I was very mindful of what the gas fees were, because I had to be, right? Why would I want to waste all that money whenever I could get more of the product if I just waited a few more hours? And that's literally what it taught me, was all of that. And so yes, I'm with you, but these are learning moments in time. It's only going to push more people to get involved with Pulse. Absolutely. I agree with that completely. All right, next one says, RIP, my stake's coming out next year. That's good, dude. That's like such a that's so bullish in my opinion. Like, you have the ability to have your stakes ending do what is to be a start to a bull market, because like we're gonna see acclimation or accumulation phase right now, and that's kind of the phase that we're in right now. It's accumulate as much as you can, because when the bull market comes and it comes back, it's gonna come with a vengeance, and a lot of folks need to use this time to accumulate. And so 2024 is also going to be the halvening cycle for Bitcoin. And so that's going to be coming probably around March to May. I forget the exact date, but that's going to be the time frame when the halvening cycle is going to happen for Bitcoin again. And so those are actually bullish momentums that you can see in Bitcoin and the overall crypto space as well. So it's not just something that you have to pay attention to there per se. What do we got next? What streaming service are you using? So Lock and Profit, I use Ecamm Live. I've gone through a few different streaming services, and this is by far my favorite. I've tried EVMux, I've tried StreamYard, I've tried Restream, I tried Melon.app for a little bit, and through all of it, I was able to find Ecamm Live, and I am in love with Ecamm Live. I've done OBS, and I've had, you know, the SE Live, and I've done those as well, and that was my first integration to live streaming. I actually started out with OBS and was like, what is this? And I was like, I need something easier, right? Because I had all the screens and scenes and all this developed and all these things but my computer at the time couldn't even handle OBS and live streaming. So I was like, I need to find something easier on the computer. Found EVMux. Long story short, I use Ecamm Live to answer that question, because ended up getting a Mac and it can handle everything, and so it does all the work that I needed to do plus more. Yeah, I'm making stupid jokes, but in 12 years, what is this normal Gwei prices, and what if this is normal Gwei prices and Ethereum is $50,000? My HEX 55 in stake fees will be astonishing. Hopefully by then you've been able to make so much profit in PulseChain, PulseX, HEX on PulseChain, HEX on Ethereum, that the gas fees are just like whatever, and you can just toss thousands of dollars to pay and end it. And yes, it would be brutal. Do I find that to be a dumb use of money? Absolutely. If you have the ability to pay for it, though, you consider yourself fortunate, because like unfortunately, like even myself, dude, I got friends involved in our ecosystem in HEX, and they actually ended up doing like smaller stakes, right? Like $100 stakes, $50 stakes. Cause I was like, kick it out to a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? And just go on down the line, set yourself up a staking ladder. Well, those, you know, that wasn't necessarily the best advice to give at the time, because nowadays it costs them more money to pay the gas fee than it costs, you know, than it does to make the actual profit back and the actual item. Now in the future, could it be worth a lot? Yeah, but you know, in the interim, that kind of stinks that you have to pay more. You didn't even get to collect profit because HEX has been in a bear market, and not only HEX, but the crypto market in general. And they couldn't even capitalize on the true benefit of it. And that stinks, man. I feel a little bit of pain, right? I feel like, man, you know, I didn't necessarily give wrong advice, but I didn't necessarily think that the outcome could be what it is. And so now it's allowed me to have a much better perspective to advise people to, especially smaller stakes, just go long, right? You aren't a Godwell right now where you're doing a 2 billion HEX stake for 45 days. That, you know, most folks aren't even touching that. And so like it doesn't make any sense to go with that route if you have $100, $200, $300 to do a stake. Kick that sucker out to at least 10 years, get the max T-share benefit you can possibly get, and then if in the future you can accumulate more money, you backtrack and start filling it in that way. And that way you can do probably bigger stakes to a shorter time frame. So that way if you have $10,000, say you get your tax return back, for example, and you want to go and do a year-long stake with $10,000, it makes a lot more sense to go with that route than it does to someone who has $100 to do a year-long stake. Does that make sense? Give me 1 second. Let me let the pup out of the room real fast. Watch out. Okay, All right. All right. Let's see what we got going on with chat. Yes. Hopefully we're all going to be so fortunate and so blessed that the fees that are going to be coming out. And by the way, like, in my opinion, 15 years, we're talking about Ethereum having many network upgrades. They're going to be focusing on this gas fee issue. They already know it's an issue. It's already a known issue. So absolutely, yes. You know what I mean? Hedron bids are going to be very expensive. Yeah. So this is the Hedron. You can go to hedron.today, for example, and you can go to auctions and you can see these bids that are happening, and these people are paying, you know, 11 billion Hedron to get, you know, 100 T shares, 25 million to get 3 T shares. These are going to be very, very expensive. So there's a lot going on with our ecosystem all the time. So, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Haha. Love it. So this is actually sharing the screen. Hedron.today. You can see these are the bids going on. You can pull up some liquidations in there. Liquidations don't really matter so much because, you know, it's not really messing with it. But again, like, if you're trying to do some auctions and get yourself some more T shares in this regard, this is one way of getting it done. And this is a great website to be able to use. Oh, dude, I appreciate that, man. PulseTube, are you on TikTok? You'll smash it on there. You had the voice and addictive laugh for it. Dude, that's so cool. Thank you for saying that, by the way. I'm on TikTok, but I only use it for the HEX daily stats that I make a quick video on at the end of each day, because I love the effects that you can get on with it. I haven't quite figured out how to do the live streaming over there. But it's definitely something I am looking into. It was brought advised to me by another subscriber of the channel, Big GZ. Big shout out to him. He's done a lot of help reaching out with other Hexicans and allowing me to meet up with them. He's the reason why we had Hexray Vision on the channel. So big shout out to Big GZ and his wife. Loving what they got going on, and thank you again for the comment as well. So I'm on TikTok, but I can improve. Let's just say that. I'm always looking to improve, by the way. Academaciated, what up? Oh shit. Give me 1 second. We actually, good old Meat Kevin. Ugh. 1 second here. Let me actually get some folks some wrenches, because I want to give the PulseTube a wrench, because well earned, well deserved for all the work that they have going on. So PulseTube, bam. Add. What does add as a managing moderator mean? I don't think I've ever read that before. As a managing moderator? Does that give you like a... Okay, it's the same thing. Let's do a little bit of a wrench party real fast, real quick. Let's just kind of go through up top. I got Gabriel in the chat, always coming through. You got a wrench. Jason, loving him as well. Coming through on the replay gang, hitting up the chat and the comments after as well. You got a wrench. Oh, there's a standard moderator and a managing moderator. What is... First time seeing this, by the way, so be mindful here. Gabriel, I'm pretty sure I just got you the wrench, but I'll double check. Remove as a managing... What? So there's apparently managing moderator and there's standard moderator. So not really sure what the perks and benefits are. The folks who are just now getting wrenches are managing moderators. Hopefully you don't abuse the power and let the power get to your head. I have the power. You know what I mean? All right. So those are going to be the few folks that I threw out the wrench today. Had some fun with that as well. Let's get back to the actual stream real quick. Love seeing this as well. Pulse listings, guys. These are a few websites. Shout out to these folks in our ecosystem. But love seeing what they got going on. Still trying to figure it out, because it looks like they're going to be going and doing a free Pulse faucet or free Pulse X faucet every single day to earn 100 Pulse X every day. So I'm a big fan of that. I also am a big fan of freepulse.io because, guys, if you don't know, now you know. But like, this is truly a benefit that you can go in here and if you have someone who is brand new to our ecosystem, I know I didn't get it right, that are brand new to our ecosystem. What's the difference? Tulip Rose? Come on. I'm going to get this wrong too. Well, give me something easy that I know. Sunflower. I can identify a sunflower. Jesus. All right. So this is going to be something you can do every hour on the hour. And I keep getting one every single time I show this off. It's almost kind of comical. But you can essentially get this roll every hour on the hour. I plan on probably using this to help onboard people who are brand new to the ecosystem, who don't even have any crypto per se. Who didn't get any copies of their ERC20 tokens because they didn't know about PulseChain. But if you're trying to get someone onboarded into it, freepulse.io, phenomenal website. Big shout out to the developers in this regard as well, because again, they have a lot of stuff, and they actually have a whole different area too. It's cardio.dev, where if you haven't seen it, this is actually their full website by Victor and Felix, who also host freepulse.io, but they do HEX Pink, which is a great little staking ladder strategy thing that you can use. Pulse Hot List is another one, PRC20s. So guys, we got some developers going on, and I'm a big fan of what they got going on as well. So let's look at the HEX price again, sitting at 5.016 cents. And I imagine we'll probably end up being there for a little bit, but let's take a look at the chat. I use the Icosa website so I don't forget the Hedron. There you go. Yeah, great way to do it. Great way. Yeah, another great advice recommendation right there. Do whatever it needs to. Like, I now have a reminder, so that way I went through all my reminders for all of my stakes that I had in my calendar, and I literally put on there, claim your Hedron, claim your Hedron, claim your Hedron, claim your Hedron. It sounds so silly, but like I need to be told what to do and when to do it, and so I'll be like, oh, end stake, and then I'm like, it fucking end it, and I'm like, no, just lost so much money because I forgot to claim it. So absolutely, yes, we will be rich, Hex Farmer. Absolutely agree with that statement as well. For those folks who can hold and hodl and all that good stuff. How's it going, Hex peeps? What's going on, John Trotter? Happy Valentine's Day to you as well. That's what I use. Yeah, Ecamm Live is a great website, or a great streaming service. Keep up the great works, ATX. Well done. And I love the Christmas tree logo. As you can see, I stay with this Christmas tree up year round, folks, and I'm a big fan of the Christmas tree. So the fact that you have a Christmas tree as your logo, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Yep, at John Trotter, 10 Top saying what up. Cool. I'll whitelist your username so you show up on the Pulse Tube. Dude, thank you so much. That's so cool. I think my username on TikTok should be ATX Crypt, if I'm not mistaken. I have the same username as it is on Twitter, which is ATX Crypt. And again, it's just without the O at the end, because those names are somehow taken. And I always find it crazy whenever, like, you know, ATX Crypto was taken. I'm like, why is that taken? You know, like, who was using that particular name? And so I you know, I could do ATX Crypto 5555, I'm sure, but now I've made it ATX Crypto damn near on everything besides a few of the things like Facebook and YouTube. Back to the stream once again. Thanks again, Pulse2. Big GZ, you're welcome. Keep up the great streams. I sure will. Cheers, mate. Cheers to you as well. Frenchie May Bullies, what's up? Yo, what up, Paul? Good to see you, my friend. What's up, my friend? How are you? Hello. Thanks, ATX. Thank you, Jason. LOL, and now it'll be also COM token too. Yeah, right. I don't claim COM token. If you want to go and get yourself some more free tokens, you do that. I personally just don't mess with it. So easy and simple on that one. To end your stake too. Yeah, exactly. So again, I don't personally recommend, or I don't point people in that direction. I haven't claimed any of mine through them at this time. Not a fan of the fact that the devs are anonymous, and I know they have it's Code AK or Kodiak or however you say his name, but not a fan of the name, and so it's something I stay away from. PulseChain says, cool, found you. Thank you. Yeah, I've been coming up on like HEX streamers and stuff like that, so always cool to see that information going on everywhere. So let's talk briefly today, folks, into profits. Profit. This is by far probably one of the most important things you can do in crypto, and it doesn't get talked about often enough, in my personal opinion. So it's important. Like, we make always important decisions dang near every single day when it comes to what we do with our crypto. Some folks will hold it, and that's a game plan to make sense. Some folks will trade it, and that's something that they can do. I just have gotten past that point in my life, and I've learned that profit taking is probably one of the most important things you can do in crypto to stay in crypto, right? Like, if you want to make crypto like a full-time job, if you want to make crypto like your life, if you want to do something like that, there has to be at some point in time that you take profit. Now, this is a double-edged sword, because if you cash out the profit, you can typically end up needing to pay taxes. So you want to make sure that you're taking profit, but properly. And I call this the 5 Ps: proper preparation prevents poor performance, right? Make sure you're set up in the best way possible to not end up in a situation where you're just going to be taxed out the wazoo, but also at the same time have a good strategy that you can actually be able to make a living on, and possibly make crypto your full-time job, right? So I say this to everyone who meets me now. It's like, hey, what do you do for a living? You know, I've now said that I'm semi-retired, because I can say retired, but at the same time, it just sounds weird. And I always get the thing whenever I said I was retired, they're like, why would you retire? All right. And I'm like, well, I was able to do well in my investments. And so I stopped with the preaching of crypto, and it's the same logic that I have. I don't point people in the direction of HEX anymore until they truly want to talk about crypto and want to know more about how to get there. Because I found that every single time that I would try to talk to them and divulge information about how they can also change their life, possibly just by looking into a simple project called HEX, that it ended up really one of two ways, where they were just like, all right, cool, that's good for you, you know what I mean? Or they would just end up, you know, pushing it off, and they're like, hey, you're just another person who made some moves in crypto early, and you know, and so I'm already late to the game. And so, like, it always ended up in that way. And I felt like I now say semi-retired, because there is a profit-taking strategy that benefits everyone, but you have to be able to also have the mental fortitude to actually complete the profit-taking strategy when it's needed. Right? And so taking profits in crypto is crucial, but it's so easy to make common mistakes. Okay, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. A lot of people get caught up in the hype of a coin. A lot of people will see it going up and see it going down, and they'll just hold on to it, thinking it's going to keep going up forever. And in fact, I had a similar feeling whenever I got to see HEX do its rally. And then the truth of crypto is it's incredibly volatile. That's a fact. Like, crypto in general is volatile, folks. It's why there's so much profits that can be, or why there's so much gains that can be had, but why it's also just as easy to see those gains disappear. And so if you think your life has changed within a year, but you never took profits, and then after that year we go through a downward trajectory and enter a bear cycle, well, that's a moment in time that you look back and you're like, damn, what did I learn? And what I learned personally was how to take profits, when to take profits, where I should take profits, and why I'm taking the profit. There has to be a reason. It can't just be emotional. I found that whenever I would make an emotional decision, it was probably the wrong decision. Let's just say that, because I would see the price going and doing what it does, where it doubles and it triples and then it quadruples, all within a span of like a 2-month span. And that's incredible to see your money gain that kind of appreciation that quickly. But then you also see it go back down, and you see it go from the quadruple X to a 2X to a 1X. And you sit there and you're like, man, dude, I had the money, I saw it, but I never did anything with it. So get ready for a roller coaster ride in crypto. If you're new to crypto, like, get ready for it, because there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. There's definitely cycles to crypto. So taking profits is by far one of the most important things, in my opinion, that you can do to lock in your gains and protect yourself from potential crashes. Not even potential, but inevitable market crashes. Because it's almost inevitable that it will go down. It's just a matter of when, not if. So people often make the mistake that they'll sell the price when it reaches a certain level. The problem with that is the price of a coin can change so rapidly. And by the time you realize that the price was there, it may have gone up, it may have gone down, it may have gone up even higher, and you're like, oh, well, I'll just hold on a little bit longer, and then it goes down, and you miss the boat. Right? And so what's the solution? The key is having a solid strategy. That's the basic point of this discussion right now. Having a solid strategy to determine ahead of time what percent of profits that you actually want to take. And you have to be able to stick to that plan too, folks, no matter what. Like, in your heart of hearts, when you say, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me get some little water real quick. In your heart of hearts, you have to be able to say, damn, what is going on? I get too excited talking about profits, apparently, that I forget to be able to talk properly. So, you have to have a good profit taking percentage that you're going to implement, but you also have to be able to stick to the plan no matter what. So I always set a target for my profits, and once I reach that target, I sell a portion of my holdings. And that's what we're going to discuss. That way I know I'm always protecting my investment. That way I know I'm always able to sleep well at night, regardless of what's going on. And how do I do this? Well, I set myself limit orders. And we can discuss this in a little bit as well, which we'll talk about here in just a bit. But there's limit order capabilities to sell and to buy. So you want to sell when the price is going up, but you also don't want to sell because of an emotional decision because the price went up. You want to have that strategy in mind long before that moment in time comes. What happens when? And that's what you need to be asking. What happens when, not if? Because in crypto, it's definitely volatile, but it also is the highest appreciating asset known to man. So the chances that it goes back up and reaches the point in time that you want to get to is so much more likely than the chance that you say, you know, it's never going to go up again. Let's just start with that. Unless you're truly just buying like a scam, which is a whole different discussion for a whole different day. So let's talk about profit real fast. And I want to kind of just share a screen with you briefly, just to kind of indicate what's going on with it. Okay. So what I'm referring to in profits right here is, let's just pull this little strategy up. This is my profit taking spreadsheet that I've been able to build. And through this little strategy, I can say, okay, personally, I was fortunate enough to be able to buy some more HEX when it was below 20 cents, 2 cents. So let's just say, for example, that you bought, you know, we'll just say 5,000. I'm going to leave all the numbers as it is. Let's just say that you had a limit order. You bought $5,000 worth of HEX at 2 cents. You were able to get 250,000 coins. Okay. Now, out of this time, there has to be more to it. So what do I want to see whenever I see it, right? This is a HEX future price that I have in here. This is a profit percentage that I'm also planning on being able to use. This is a great strategy, and what I've done and what I've found to be the easiest way to do this and implement it is by doing it when the price doubles. It's a simple strategy to keep track of, and it's a strategy that you can use to do this yourself. So when the price was at 2 cents, the point in time that I would take profit would be 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents, 32 cents, so on and so forth, right? I already have these numbers in my head, but not only in my head, in front of me to where I can visually see it. Now, what's so beneficial about being able to visually see something is I can now say I can set limit orders at these prices. So say, for example, I got my 5,000 HEX or $5,000 worth of HEX at 2 cents. I personally want to probably look to take profit of 5% each time the price doubles. Okay, this is the strategy that I'm going with, but you can change this number to whatever number makes more sense for you. So I can say I want 5 cents to do here. So at that point in time, what would that end up looking like? Well, this is exactly what this is. So how many doubles has it done? Well, it's only done 2 doubles, or it's only gone and done a 2x, which is 1 double. So that means that I would sell roughly around 12,000 coins, right? And again, it does all the math for you down here if you're curious about all this as well, so you can kind of see what it all is and how it all works. But say I can break this down and say I want the price to be 0.04 for the future price, and then I can click this little button here and it'll tell me how much it ends up being. So I would have taken $500 worth of profit because the price would have gone up to 10,000 based on a double, right? I started out with $5,000 and went up and double, and now have $10,000. Well, I want to take 5% profit. So that's what it's going to tell me. It's going to say, okay, you would need to sell 12,500 coins. Well, the benefit of this is I can now go into CalSwap and I can actually put this in here to say, I want to sell HEX. I want to sell HEX at, and I want to sell 12,500 worth of HEX. And I want to convert it into USDC for now. This is where we start for now. So this is saying that I want to do this when the price reaches 4 cents. Now, again, the price has already reached this price, so you can't really do it in this scenario. I'm just using this as an example. But I can do this right whenever I buy my HEX. This is what I ended up doing, okay? So I can literally buy it. As soon as I buy it, I can go in and set limit orders on sell limit orders. So when the price reaches certain levels, it automatically sells for me. I don't even have to think about it. It's going to say it's going to hit 4 cents right here. And I want to set this expiry date out to 6 months. So in this moment in time, I've got it for 2 cents. I've set a limit order for when it hits 4 cents. And then when it does, it's going to cash out $500 worth of profit. Now, once this limit order's hit, it literally cashes it out, and then I hold that in my wallet. Well, I can go in and actually set all these limit orders ahead of time right now based on this spreadsheet that I have right here. So this literally tells me when the price hits 8 cents, when the price hits 16 cents, I can go through and do all of that for you, okay? And again, this is another little profit taking area here. This is another part of this as well. And this actually will tell you all the math as well. So let's just use the exact same numbers. $5,000 worth of HEX at 2 cents is what it was able to get it. At 5 cents, this is how much I would sell. Whenever it goes up to 8 cents, I'm only going to have a certain number of coins remaining, which is 237,500, assuming that I sold 12,500 when it hit 4 cents. Now I want to take 5% of that, right? So now I sell 11,875. So I can come in here to CalSwap and I can set it for 11,875 for when the price reaches 8 cents. I can then go in here, set the limit order for out to 6 months, and I already have it done. So that way it cashes it out when the price hits that point. I'm not making an emotional decision. I'm not making any investment decision that was a random decision. I'm making this based on logic, based on sound logic in my decision about how much I want to cash out, when I want to cash out, and how to cash out. So I can set limit orders right here. Now guys, if you don't want to do 5%, for example, you can come on down here to 10%. You can come on down here to 15%. You can come on down here even to 20%. And if you want to change these and customize these yourself, you can change it all the way up to 90% yourself. I don't recommend going that route, but everyone's going to have their own little metric that they need to do. So assuming that I wanted to take out 20% profit every single time the price doubled, this is the math I would do. When the price hits 4 cents, I would set a limit order to sell 50,000 HEX because it's already done the math for me, right? I would set a limit order to set 50,000 HEX. It would cash out 2,000. It would leave me over 200,000 coins remaining. When the price hits 8 cents, it would tell me I need to cash out 40,000 this time. I would then cash out $3,200. When the price hits, 16 cents, tells me I need to sell 32,000. So I can literally go in and set limit orders on every single one of these based on a strategy that I already made myself that makes good, sound, logical decision. I'm not trying to make it an emotional decision. I'm not trying to do anything like that. So keep that in mind for whenever you are trying to figure this stuff out yourself, because I think this is so important that so many folks fail to understand the importance of taking profit. And I think profit is by far how you win in crypto. Like in the example that I showed you, if you wanted to just get your money back quickly, you can take out 50% profit when the price doubles, and then you're playing with house money. Now, again, I think that's too much of a decision, too much of profit in that regard to cash out. So I would personally not advise on that. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. You do you, boo. You got to make that decision for yourself. But based on this spreadsheet, it does all the math for me, and it literally tells me when I need to take profit, where I need to take profit, how much I need to sell, and then based on all of these decisions, I can go in and set limit orders for these numbers. So when I literally remove myself from the equation. So when the price starts going up, I don't ever have to worry, should I wait a little bit longer and just take profit instead of at 4 cents, at 5 cents? Should I wait a little bit longer instead of at 8 cents, at 10 cents? Like, that is how you get so wrecked, because then the price will end up reaching, 5 cents, and then you're like, oh, I may just wait till it hits 6 cents. And then the price goes back down to 3, and you're like, oh man. And it could stay down at 3 for this is HEX, for example, and it could stay down at 3 for the next 6 months, right? And then now we're back above 5 cents again. But did you learn a lesson? Like, you know what I mean? So that is by far my recommendations that I would say. Taking profits in crypto is crucial. You can't afford to make this mistake because it's so easy to get caught up in the hype. So you need to develop a strategy. You need to stick to that strategy. You need to watch your investments grow and sleep with a much better sounding sleep schedule in your head instead of worrying that the price is doing XYZ. Because when you're looking at charts all day, that adds stress to your life. That adds so much stress that you end up affecting your own personal life, your relationships, your friendships, and it's not worth it. So, that's what I would say in that regard. Definitely keep in mind that's again my recommendation there. Obviously, thanks for checking that portion out for sure. So let's just see what y'all got to say in chat, because I am a big fan of what we got going on with the chat conversation. Will prices go down tomorrow? Yes, will gas prices go down tomorrow? I want to make a new stake, but don't want to pay so much. But also don't want share rate to ratchet up. Yeah. Red Bull Green Bear, dude. I love the name. Yes, I would say you have time to wait. But again, like, you still have to make that decision yourself. So the reason why I think that is I don't think that 2 billion HEX stake is going to be ending today or even probably tomorrow. I think they're probably going to wait until the weekend to end the stake. Now, I could be way wrong. They've got so much money that it's not even funny with the God whale. So if they want to end their stake now, even with the gas prices as they are, they could probably care less that they just spent $1,000 on ending a gas or paying for the ending of the stake. But I think they're smarter than that, and I think they value their money more than that. So I think they would want to wait until gas prices go down. And what I would end up doing is almost keeping track of the gas. This is, if you are planning on staking, I would definitely keep the gas tracker up. And you can pull it up on Etherscan. You can pull it up on hex.vision. There's many different sources where you can pull it up. Right now it's sitting in the ballpark of about 111, so it's already gone down more than half from when we first started the stream. And I'll pull it up over here just so you can kind of see, because it was at 250. It was at one point 260, and even before it was actually as high as like 700, which is just absurd. But you can see it's already gone down to 109. I still think that's way too unreasonable to be paying that kind of gas fee, especially considering the average is about 8 to 12 that I would consider to be a good price. So I think the gas price is going to go down. I think it's something that you want to be paying attention to and be mindful of, because if you actually, again, go to hex.vision, and as I go back here, I'll show you one more time the time frame that you can look and see if you're up and you're awake and all that stuff. If you're wanting to start a stake, end a stake, this is going to be a moment in time where you're going to have to make that decision what you're okay with paying. So if the price of the gas fee ends up dipping down to say 50, maybe 40, are you okay with paying that, right? Because that could be something that you can be like, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet on this. I'll stake it out for an extra 4 months longer, we'll say, to make up the difference. And again, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but if it does dip back down, then that's a good way to do it. Because look, on average, you can see this is based in UTC time, by the way, so hour 1 through hour 24. So 00000 is UTC time, or GMT time, or whatever time you want to call it. And so you can kind of see, like, based on where it is, it makes the most sense to do something around this time frame. So figure out what UTC time is for you. 0000 UTC is 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if that works, it makes it a little bit easier for you in your head, and then just kind of figure it out from there, right? So these are good times to be ending a stake, possibly, right? These are times where it could be a little bit better, because you can see we're in this 20 to 30 range. Now, Tuesdays are brutal. I would just say Tuesdays in general are just brutal, but Wednesday and Thursday aren't necessarily any better. Friday, we start coming back down, and then Saturday and Sunday are by far the most beneficial days to transact on the Ethereum network. I just don't know if you'll have enough time before the t-shirt rate ratchets up. So I would, if to answer the question, keep an eye on gas prices today. I think you'll have time to start a stake, so just make sure you're keeping track. You got to pay taxes every time you buy or sell. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Hex Farmer, my understanding, and I'm not a tax professional or tax advisor, is until you take profit and cash out, and the actual cash out of the real world, you aren't actually, there's no transaction that you're doing that's a taxable event from where I live. Because the benefit to it's like holding a stock for many years, for example, right? And so if you just hold that stock, that's kind of a tough one to say. If you never cash out your stocks, then you never took profit. It's unrealized profit. And so just because you may cash out into USDC, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've actually got profit. It's very tough for crypto, by the way. So everyone's going to have their own opinion. From what I'm told, it's not a taxable event in that scenario. I could say that. Crypto is my life. Crypto is my wife. Less stress now. No more strife. Hey. Yeah, whenever you don't have to report to a boss, oh my gosh, life just gets so much easier. So much easier. Joshua, what's the link? The link is actually in my Patreon, in the link down below, the description in the link down below for that particular spreadsheet for profit taking. The idea behind that whole talk, and really the idea behind everything, is really just to make sure that you have a good understanding of a good profit taking spreadsheet or a good profit taking strategy that you can use to implement yourself. I've built this for people who want to help participate, help join the Patreon community. Again, the link is down in the description below. When you become a member of Patreon, you actually get access to this link. Not only that, you get access to Discord as well, where we talk in some more details. You also get this Pulse price prediction model as well, which just gives you a good example. These are all live prices of true price prediction strategies for Pulse when it launches, based on what it actually is coming from, which is Ethereum and the liquidity pools. And so it's right now, it's saying that the Pulse price would be right around 12.00129, which is a 12.9x from sacrifice price. So I have these down in the description below, but again, feel free to make it yourself. Feel free to come up with a good strategy. If you don't want to become a member of the Patreon, I completely understand. This is just what I've made for people who want to, help join the channel and help it. So, Frenchy Made Bullies, this is genius. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Frenchy Made Bullies. Yeah. And again, it doesn't really get talked about often enough, right? Unfortunately, this is something that it truly takes a lot of understanding in order to implement. But not only that, you have to have a better strategy of what is going to be actually winning in the future. And I realize that when you're emotional, you make terrible decisions. Regardless, they're rash, they're very brazen, they're abrupt, they come out of nowhere, and you end up typically regretting the decision that you make. And so I found this to be probably the easiest way possible for it to be for it to be done. So that way it makes the most sense. You can go through here. You can actually have a desired goal for profit. Again, disclaimer, right? This membership is content, and content is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment only. Do your own research, and this material is only for fun. Again, not financial, investment, or tax and legal advice. So this is what I actually built. And again, I have a whole little build a calculator strategy over here. So it doesn't just have to be HEX. When you end up getting into other cryptos as well, this is actually a whole build a calculator thing that you can make many duplicates on. And in here, you can come in and make it PulseChain, PulseX, you know, HEX on PulseChain, HEX on Ethereum, all this stuff. And you can really get into a big benefit of what's actually going to be beneficial. Change the logo, change the name, and when you change all that down here, it changes it all up here. So just keep that in mind. Okay. What we got going on with the overall market today? It seems like we are pretty, I would say it's green. Don't get me wrong. HEX is winning. Let's see. I love crypto bubbles whenever HEX is up. Is that bad of me? Whenever I get to see HEX, typically like the biggest bubble, it makes me so happy. So HEX is only shown to be at 7.7% today. You got ATX, which is, you know, sitting at 32, and a few others who are doing a little bit better. But I love it whenever I actually get to see HEX, and it's just like the biggest bubble on screen. Because like that's what I pay attention to, right? All these other ones are, you know, coins that's making some profits for some folks. But I'm a fan of HEX, right? So that's what I like to see. And what else do we got going on? Let me pull up right here. This is Genius. Hi, what's up? How are you doing? Hello. Core DAO future, biggest investment, crypto, Web3, and thinks that looks almost very spammy. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna let that one kind of slide just because I don't exactly know, but that looks super spammy. And I'm sure someone already took care of it. And then you post it again. See, like that's gonna get you, yeah. If it hasn't already gotten you blocked, hopefully someone already did. Let me just kind of scroll on down. Oh, cool. You already took it off YouTube. Thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, hey, look at that. Appreciate that, Jason. Love it. Shared out the link. Yes, absolutely. Okay, cool. So let's pull this up here. Yeah, good system you've worked out there. Thank you, the Pulse Tube. Yeah, it took a while to come up with a strategy that made the most sense. Guys, you got to imagine when PulseChain launches, I want every single one of y'all to be able to take profit and sleep so well at night, but not wreck yourself. So it started out, you know, 10% profit, and then I lowered it down to 1% profit, and then I realized that, like, you know, those are tough ones, but 5% seemed to be a perfect number in my head. And, you know, once I actually built out the whole spreadsheet and I got to see the math, and then I got to see the benefit of being able to change anything that I wanted to, my gosh, the system made so much sense. And now I'm able to implement that strategy because, again, the 5 Ps, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Now that I have seen this strategy come into play, I can implement the strategy, I can execute that strategy, and now I can set my limit orders in place so I don't even have to worry about what the price of HEX is and if I need to sell. If the price of HEX ends up reaching, we'll say 6 cents because I was able to buy it for, you know, 1.7 cents, for example, and it went up to 3.4 and then 6.8, when it reaches that double right there, I don't even have to do anything because I already have a limit order set to execute. I also have the other way, guys. Buying HEX with limit orders, buying crypto with limit orders is freaking huge. So yes, you take profits by setting limit orders. You buy crypto by setting limit orders as well. You don't buy on the market, in my personal opinion. You let the price come to you and you get to capitalize on it. Now, if you're brand new to crypto, you just want to get some, then you do you, boo. But like, the best thing to do is to have something come in here where you can say, when the price reaches, we'll say 3 cents again, possibly, or 3.6 cents, or somewhere in this region, I have limit orders all down here. So if the price does dip back down below 4 cents, 3 cents, you know, whatever the case may be, I have limit orders in place to scoop up more HEX. So that's kind of what I would recommend. There's definitely strategies that you can use to take profit, but also you have to come up with a good strategy to buy crypto as well. So Tin Top says, I'm always like, oh man, I should have staked longer. Dude, my gosh, man. Yeah, one of the strategies that I have, I'm actually building out another spreadsheet. Can you believe it or not? That I'm going to build out another spreadsheet that's actually going to be showing people how to build a good staking ladder. In this staking ladder, and I'll give you a brief rundown of how it works. But every 3 months, if you have the staker.app system or staker app, every 3 months you can do one transaction where you set a multi-stake instance, so you can do 15 stakes and you have it ending once a year, obviously. And you do this one transaction at the beginning of the quarter. You do this for 1 year, so January, April, July, October. You do this for 1 year. In that 1 year time, you can set yourself up a strategy to pay yourself every single quarter for the next 15 years. It's a strategy that I've been able to implement in my life that I found to be so helpful, and I'm going to be building a spreadsheet to kind of make sense of that so much easier, so much more. Also, it was only a short stake, so it won't need as much gas. Yeah, so yeah, short stakes are, you know, obviously the amount that you stake and how long you stake, all that goes into how much you're going to pay at the end. Because with HEX stakes, it actually calculates every single day because it has to get that payout per T-share, and it has to do the math and go through and pull all this data every single time. And unfortunately, through that, it ends up costing on the Ethereum network a little bit more to do longer stakes. But sometimes that's why I kick it out to 5, 15, 5, 10, 15 years. Because I think personally that the Ethereum gas fees are going to reach a point in time where they're going to be fixed. Okay, let's just say that. Right, you're right. Taking profits is one of the most important parts when you're in crypto. Yes, it definitely is. 100% right. I blame Sleepy Joe Biden for these high gas prices. Fix it, Biden. What are you doing? ATX, what do you think about the situation of the SEC going after Binance USD? Man, the SEC doesn't know what to do, right? The SEC is playing catch up when it comes to crypto. And unfortunately, through the fallout of everything that happened in 2022, FTX collapse, BlockFi collapse, Voyager collapse, 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, like all these people got freaking wrecked, right? And these are all major exchanges, we'll say. And they wrecked a lot of people. And so the SEC truly has just no idea what to do. They're instead of trying to come up with a way that's beneficial for everyone, their strategy is to just block or not allow or to get rid of. And that's not the right strategy, right? In my opinion, you need to come up with a strategy that's going to benefit people in the future, that protects people in the future. You don't just block it, because we're in such a decentralized world nowadays that just because they blocked something doesn't mean that it's actually blocked. Like, so instead of coming up with just that mentality of blocking or not allowing, they need to come up with a strategy that allows but protects. And they're behind the system right now. They're behind the 8 ball. They have literally no idea what to do. So unfortunately, I think the SEC is trying to go after anyone that offers any sort of staking rewards or any sort of stability reward or any sort of, peg to the US dollar. They don't know what to do. And they're basically like fishing for anything that they can. That is the link to the Patreon right there. Patreon.com/ATX Crypto. Thank you for posting that link, Jason. But yeah, to anyone who wants to go check it out, become a member of the Patreon, you can do so down in the description below or by clicking the link in YouTube. What's up, Crypto Compassion? Hey, y'all. Hello, 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 says Jason. What's up, Crypto Compassion? Absolutely. Yo, yo, yo. Guys, this is so much fun to every single one of y'all. It's a blast having every single one of y'all in here. It's Valentine's Day. It's, middle of the day. I want to go get set up. The wife is out and about, so I got to go, get all fancy. I want to try to make a little dinner and surprise her and have a neat little thing that we have going on, so that way we have a nice little night tonight. So I'm probably going to end up hopping off the stream shortly to make sure that I can get all that done. But to all y'all guys, I just want to say so much love to everyone. I've seen so much growth in the channel I want to thank every single one of y'all. If y'all are finding this information helpful and you're enjoying the content that I am putting out, a subscribe is always appreciated. It doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't cost, or it doesn't cost anything for you. And if you are enjoying the content and you want to see more of this that's being put together, that I am putting together, then yeah, definitely click the subscribe button. Come follow me on the journey as we dive into the world of crypto, HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX. And I will catch you in the next video, y'all. Have a wonderful afternoon. Peace.